Okay, say you. Oh, yeah, it's. Nice. They were York and Florida. Millsville. It's. Good afternoon. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the September 6th meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. No, it's hard to believe it's September already. First of all, I want to thank our greeters, Bob Lachoy and David Brandenburg, Ticketmaster, Eric, floating around here somewhere, Beth Handworker for everything she does, Pete Bales, Mark Weinstein, and Mike Sweet for the great programs, and Jim Bendel for the website. Danny, if you're available. Yeah, and more information. Yeah, thank you. Well, good afternoon. Would you all please join me in prayer? As we give to each other thanks according to our personal persuasions, let us dwell on some thoughts that bind us together. You blessed us with friends and laughter and fun, with rain that is soft and light from the sun. You blessed us with the stars to brighten each night. You've given us help to know wrong from right. You've given us so much praise. Lord, give us too a heart that's always grateful to you. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Diane. We want to reemphasize that one about the rain. It really is summer, especially out here. Not tomorrow. Oh, no, not tomorrow. But maybe sometime. Secretary, Joe Jenkins.
Guest, I have a guest, Jason Joe, right here in the middle. He is Mitch Jones on the roof, Renegade Roofing, and Get Lit Solar. And then Mike Swick has a guest. Bingo, that'd be me. John Gregory, nice to meet you.
Hi, John. Mike was on that one.
That
was fun. All right, Sergeant at Arms, Chris Stanley. The Victoria Whitman. Thank you. And John.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and our incredible speaker along with our guest. Today is September 6th, also known as the 250th day of the year, which means we have completed 68% of 2024. Jumping into birthdays, a couple repeat offenders, but since one of them is here, today we are celebrating not only Mike Hadley's birthday, but Michael Swick's birthday. And then on the 13th, Jim Jamboard celebrates his birthday. Didn't see Alex or the other Mike walk in, so hopefully they remember that Alex has a wedding anniversary, or his wife's birthday is coming up on the 9th, and Mike has a wedding anniversary on the 9th as well. Some good things that happened on this day in history, going back to 1870, the first woman ever to vote legally in the U.S. marked her ballot over in Wyoming. Louisa Swain made history by casting the electoral ballot under a new law giving women full civil and political equality with men. Fast forwarding to 1997, Elton John debuted a new version of Candle in the Wind at the funeral of Princess Diana, and that was witnessed by 2 billion with a B people when he performed that live, and then the song went on to become one of the biggest selling singles of all time. Also on this day in 1995, a man by the name of Cal Ripken Jr. broke Lou Gehrig's baseball record when he played his 2,131st consecutive game, which was considered a near impossible feat to beat. He then continued his streak, going on for 2,632 games without missing a game. So for comparison, the longest consecutive game streak by an active player right now is held by Matt Olson, who's a first baseman for the Atlanta Braves. He is sitting at 596 games, which puts him at 21st on the all-time list. So all he has to do is play another 12 and a half years, and he can pass Cal Ripken.
Jeez.
Also, talking with Joe, I'm sure he would love to hire somebody that doesn't miss a day of work for a week, a year, 10 years, 20 years. I'm sure all of us would love to have those kind of people around. Also, if you were to look at the Chicago White Sox record, you would think they have a lot of people not playing as well. But here's a fun fact. If you took all 5 teams in their division, which is the AL Central, combined, they would be 38 games under 500. But the 4 other teams not named the White Sox are currently all with a winning record. So for those that are bad with math, the White Sox, as of yesterday, had 32 wins, 109 losses with 21 games left. So they have zero chance of making the playoffs. Or if they win every single game, they have zero chance of moving up to 4th place. But they do have a chance to be the worst baseball team in the modern era as long as they don't win 3 more games. And for you Cleveland fans, if you travel to Chicago next week, you can watch your team play for about the same price of a hot dog there. Some other notable news from the week. The Ohio State Buckeyes were dominant in their first win against the MAC conference super powerhouse known as the Akron Zips. In related news, the documentary on Netflix, Sign Stealer, debuted last week, was the number 5 most watched film of the week. If you have not seen that, I highly recommend it, especially if you're an Ohio State fan, a Michigan fan, or just a college football fan. Also, the Paralympics are set to wrap up in a few days. Currently dominating like we did Summer Olympics, as China is leading with 151 total medals, 66 of those being gold. We are sitting in 3rd place with 71 medals, 26 gold. And if you have not watched any of the events, I'm sure this sounds like I'm repeating myself here. You should definitely watch the Paralympics ASAP. It is incredible seeing people with no arms shooting a bow and arrow, playing table tennis with their mouth, or learning a 100-meter dash faster than I ever could in my prime. So definitely check it out. And if you want a sport to watch that be new to most people, look up goalball. It's quite fascinating how they play the game and how the athletes in there play the game as well. Moving on to local news. Beavercreek just being dominant all last week. 2 ladies from the Beavercreek golf team made the GWalk all team, or the all GWalk team. Both men and women's team finished 3rd at the GWalk. We had the varsity girls beating Northmont in soccer 4-2. We had the varsity girls tennis beating Fairmont 5-0. We have the varsity girls volleyball beating Wayne. We have the men's varsity soccer team beating Northmont, and the junior varsity team beating Northmont as well. The Beavercreek middle school guys and girls both won the Tree City Invitational and improved to 3-0 for the year. The varsity football team did what Ohio State could not do, and they shut out their opponent 41-0. And then the JV team didn't have the same result, but I blame that on the lightning delay that messed up their timing with the game. Moving on to things to celebrate for this week, we got a bunch. So today we have National Food Bank Day. We also have National Lazy Moms Day, along with Fight Procrastination Day. So I don't know which one of those you will celebrate or which one will wait, but you got 2 sides of the spectrum to celebrate today. We also have National Read a Book Day. Tomorrow, as the first Saturday of every month, is National Play Outside Day. We have World Beaver Day, which we celebrate by a few people in here. We also have Superhuman Day, which is nothing to do with superheroes from like cartoons, but more so those battling and overcoming any kind of disabilities, which ties into the Paralympics going on right now. I'm sure Brandon will be celebrating Hummingbird Day tomorrow. And then I think a lot of people here celebrate this every Saturday and or Sunday during football season, but tomorrow is National Tailgating Day and also National Beer Lovers Day. So 2 P's and a pause there. Moving on to Sunday, we have National Pet Memorial Day and National Hug Your Hound Day, and also National Dog Walker Day. So a little bit of theme going on for Saturday. Moving on to Monday, we have National Emergency Services Day. So big thanks to all of our responders out there. Tuesday, National Swap Ideas Day, which is always a great thing. Wednesday, being 9/11, we have Patriot Day, National Day of Service and Remembrance, and then the Libraries Remember Day, which is a 9/11 tribute. And then Thursday, everyone's favorite time of the year, National School Picture Day. And then also National Video Game Day. And then definitely a big one for Chief over there. Thursday is also National Policewoman Day. Some things to do today. We have Beavercreek playing in Thornwood over at Welcome Stadium at 7. This weekend is a popcorn festival. That's all you need to know. Just do the popcorn festival if you're not volunteering. Monday, if you want to help out our friends at the Beavercreek Wetlands Association, they are doing a Wonder in Wetlands over at David Nolan's Wetland Reserve from 6 to 8. And then Tuesday, you can meet our city council and mayor for community conversations at Southern Ohio Brewery. And then also for next Friday, before and after Rotary, over at the Beavercreek Senior Center is the health fair and outdoor market from 10 to 2. So, me being the documentary nerd that I am, I ended up watching the documentary called Facing Nolan. For those who have not seen it, it is about Nolan Ryan. And if you aren't familiar with how good he is, I got a couple stats that I learned from him. So, after a record of 27 seasons playing ball, he retired in 1994 and to this day still holds 51 records in Major League Baseball. Some of them here have your career strikeouts of 5,714. The next person is Randy Johnson, who's also retired. He's about 1,000 strikeouts behind him. Wow. He also has 7 no-hitters. He has 12 one-hitters, 18 two-hitters, 31 three-hitters, 15 200 strikeout seasons, 6 300 strikeout seasons. And although he no longer holds the record for most strikeouts in 9 innings, which was 19, was now 20, and didn't get to 21 strikeouts in an extra inning game, he does have the record for most 19 plus strikeout games, 18 plus strikeout games, 17 plus strikeout games, and 16 plus strikeout games. He also, after throwing 2 no-hitters, where one he struck out a record 17 batters, and he set the single season record for most strikeouts in 1973, 383 strikeouts. He that year did not win the Cy Young Award, which a lot of people kind of scratch their head at. So next year he decided to go a little bit bananas, didn't set the strikeout record, but set the 4th highest strikeout record with 367. He also either set or tied all these single season records with 3 19 plus strikeout games, 3 18 plus strikeout games, 3 17 plus strikeout games, 3 16 strikeout games, and 6 15 plus strikeout games. He also threw that year a game where he threw 235 pitches in a single game. His stat line from that game: 13 innings, 19 strikeouts, 10 walks, 58 batters faced, 3 runs allowed. It marked only 1 of 3 times in his career, twice during that year, that he had 19 strikeouts in a game. And then on his next start, which just was 3 days later, pitched 6 scoreless innings against the Yankees. And now this is going to help me feel a lot better about my age. That will get some people in here too. At 43 years, 131 days old, Nolan Ryan became the oldest pitcher in history to throw a no-hitter. Sadly, that record didn't last a full calendar year because at 44 years, 90 days, he threw his 7th and final no-hitter. He also pitched in 4 separate decades and is the only pitcher in history to appear in the majors as a teenager and 45 years or older. He also has struck out 200 plus batters in a single season 5 times in his 40s. And I don't know if this is confirmed, but I believe he is the only pitcher in their 40s to being a batter that is almost half his age and proceed to put him in the old-fashioned headlock and hold him up good as he can on it as he starts. Which, if you have not seen that video, it is amazing. I think it kind of set the tone for a lot of batters moving forward. But do we want to charge the mound or not? So, moving on to today's topics. Got the standard. You're not wearing your badge, that's $1. Those people that were late, that's $1. If you've never played a video game, that'll be $1. And if you have ever been forced to wear an outfit to school for school pictures that you look back at now and wonder, what were my parents thinking? That's $1.
Yeah.
Well, they got me for one. Gotcha. Never played a video game. I think to the Tory count.
Yeah.
Sure.
Here.
Happy bucks.
They're up okay. I'm happy that I'm again going to the Ohio State Buckeyes score.
It's a pretty sad bunch. So there's gotta be something happening out there.
Now, at my office, we have a pretty small staff and, today marks 20 years since the first day of my paralegal and it's the heart of the business. It's just awesome. So Christy, see Christy, those of you who know her, tell her you're sorry she had to put up with me for that long.
Anyone else? Everyone else? Certainly there's more than two of you. So then that dull.
I've got one. So I think I shared a couple weeks ago about my daughter going to Boston College. And so I thought that Boston College, took down Florida State. What is it? That's great.
I think everybody's taking Florida State so far this year.
Yeah, probably not that good, but
Well, we'll still there.
Jason Jones again, first time here visiting. Joe brought me and I know John as well. This Coffee with Champions. Just happy to be here, expand my network and see how I can help you and help each other, be go-givers with each other. So grateful to be here.
Anyone else? Okay, ticket drawing. There's signature on it, so you get your tickets out. There you go. It is 117-5370. So close, but so far. About that. Wow, someday. Looking for the Queen of Hearts. For real estate.
No, it's about the.
After proceeds, let's go to our Christmas basket program. And depending on who wins, maybe they're after Christmas basket program too. But really quite honest. Jacket face. Five rows. Oh, very good. Be a nice spot once we get it. Joe, it's almost your level for that, so. All right, announcements. I have a sheet over here, somewhere, a sheet floating around. I need readers for 2 nights or 2 days coming up. So if we get that filled in, I'd appreciate it. And then Joe Jenkins has a sign-up sheet as well, so let him talk about it.
So there's a sign-up sheet going around for, I think I said something about, I'd say a couple weeks back, the Green County Fish Pantry. And we're gonna do the second, well, it's actually the 4th Saturday. It's on Cincinnati Avenue and it's to support veterans. So if you can sign up, I know it's the notepad running around, that'd be great. So I can get that over to Gail. We could definitely use some help.
Very good. Let's try to do that. Please try to do that. It's well worth your time. It's only for 2 hours, so it's a good program that they run over there. Anyone else?
My neighbors have been working hard with the Beavercreek Festival that they're doing this weekend, and so there's been hiccups with the pandemic, and last year they had to scale back for some infrastructure. But they're back in full force this year, so if it's something you are interested in, they have social media up and it's back to what it was. But they're really hoping to get back on track, so I'm just giving them a plug. It's always great food, so.
Yeah, it's very good. I always like to talk about it. I have to go just for that. Also, this weekend is Italian Festival and Italian Club. What's that?
county line, on the county line.
Yeah. It changes names so many different times. County line, yeah. So we've got 3 festivals, big festivals. Go to the Popcorn Festival, especially if you're working at our booth. We need your help there, so. I need to apologize for blowing up your email a little bit this week. I'm still figuring out how to work that TV. I sent one with no message. And then I sent 2 with the same message. So it's but a couple of things that come up this coming from the district. You all got this in your emails about Let's Sing on Polio. They're having a karaoke thing at On Par on October 10th. It starts at 6:30 p.m. If you get an opportunity, try to go over there. Even if you go there, go just to see the place if you've never been there. It's an amazing facility. I had an event over there, and it's really an amazing facility to go to. Also, that Donnie is doing a podcast
And the email I sent out has the QR code where you can find out more about that. She does that each month, kind of keep everybody up to date. And then mark your calendars. This is well, it's say way in the future, but April 26th is really not that far away. There's a Rotary District 667 day of service. We're looking for all 45 clubs and do something in our own hometown. Pick something here, it's not necessarily as a district, but would choose something in our own.
And environmental.
An environmental project, correct. So, let's be thinking about that. We'll try to put something together. Anything else, announcements?
I have a short one.
Okay.
Check your inboxes. There were about 10 of you that hadn't paid dues yet. Please pay them. The quarter ends on September 30. So I'd like to get everything cleaned up by then. And I'm going out of town on the 25th. So if you pay after the 25th, you're gonna get a late number on your new invoice, because I'll send you invoices while I'm still away. So I'll check in the mail.
Is that you need funds for your trip?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Very good. All right, I'm gonna call up the birthday boy, Mr. Zwick, to introduce our speaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. It's my pleasure to reintroduce Mr. Larry Hanscom. Mr. Hanscom has been announcing Dayton Flyers football since 1988. I think that's a great accomplishment. I don't know how you got into broadcasting when you were 8 years old. Larry also does the Flyers basketball and the morning news on WHIO. And Larry has a book out called Bigger Than Basketball. Wow, Larry, how it comes.
Thanks, Mike. Good to be back. Seeing some familiar faces from previous visits here. As Mike said, I've been with the WHIO since 1981. I've been there for 43 years, and this will be my 42nd season of Flyer basketball coming up, and 36 season of Dayton football. And
Yeah.
this will make you feel old. Here's what will make you feel old. Okay, there are 4 members of this year's Dayton football team whose dads also played at Dayton. Right? I broadcast all the dads' games, and now I'm broadcasting the sons' game. I'm also, I think it might be the answer to a trivia question, I might be the only guy in America who is at a place where I'm broadcasting men's basketball and football. And I broadcast those 2 head coaches' games when they were players.
Wow.
My first conversation with Anthony Grant was he was a 17-year-old senior in high school. So I've known him all that time. Well, I'm going to talk about Coach Downer in a bit, and I just want to give a real quick story. I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so blessed to be here. And it was not the path one might think. I mean, it's a really good story if I would say, this is my lifelong dream. I fell asleep every night, the radio under my pillow, listening to late ball games, and I always dreamed of doing this someday. And that was my goal since I was a little kid, and I was zeroed in on it. And lo and behold, here I am. It's a heck of a story, but it wouldn't be true. The fact of the matter is, I was a senior in college at Bowling Green State University. Broadcast major, but also a German major. Primarily, most of my coursework was in German. And there was a notice on the bulletin board in the German department office saying they were looking for foreign language majors to take a test. So I took this test, and several weeks later, a man in a serious-looking suit shows up on campus and says, "We want to talk to you about working for the NSA. Now, the test I had taken, they gave you a made-up language. They say, here's this language, here's the vocabulary, here's the grammar rules, and then they tested you on it. So basically, they're looking for people who had ability to learn languages. So I get flown to Fort. No one knows what the NSA is at this point in time. Okay, no one's ever heard of it. I haven't heard of it. I get flown to Fort George Meade, Maryland, outside DC, for a 4-day interview. We had to wear these special badges, and there were some hallways that had a red stripe down the hallway. You could not go there. Some hallways had a green stripe, go there, and the hallways that had a yellow stripe, it depended on if your badge was activated for that stripe. So it's very, hush, hush, this is like a Tom Clancy novel or something, okay? So I go through all these interviews and tests. They had me take a German test that was 3 hours long. I was the only person taking the test. They had a guy in the front of the room, a proctor, he goes, begin. And then 3 hours later, he goes, time. Psychological exams, also even had to take a lie detector test. That was about 2 hours. So anyway, I've been thoroughly poked and prodded and questioned by the time it comes for my exit interview. And I'm in my exit interview, and they go over, some certain things, the benefits, and here's a list of apartments in the area. And they go, our plan is, your German is good, but we've got better. But you have ability to learn languages, so if in fact we hire you, we will send you to the Monterey Language Institute in California, where you will be retrained in Farsi. At this point in time, in September, you will be sent to an embassy to work in translation and transcription, whereby you would monitor all television and radio broadcasts, all publications and speeches. You would send a transcription to the code breakers back here in Fort George Meade for their analysis. Great. Jeez. But there's something that's come to our attention. That's a little concerning. And think, oh my gosh, what? I've taken all these tests, lie detectors thing. Well, we happen to notice that you're a little outgoing. Do you have any idea what we do here? And what a job. I can change. You'll change. I can change. Yeah. So, I thought I want to be James Bond. So I don't get the job. I don't go to the Monterey Language Institute. I don't get retrained in Farsi. And in September of 1979, I do not get sent to the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. Whereas in November, it was taken over by the student revolutionaries, and the people that worked there were held hostage for close to 2 years. Best job I never got. And so basically, I am here on my fallback career. And so, like I say, I try to tell young people and anyone, sometimes life gives you what you think is a failure, it's just a disappointment. In my view, there's only one true proper use of the word failure, and that's a parachute that doesn't open. Other than that, it's just disappointments, okay? So I'm very blessed to be doing what I'm doing, and I wanted to talk about Coach Donover because I know it's a cliche to talk about having a Mount Rushmore, who you put on Mount Rushmore. And, maybe if you're going to do a Mount Rushmore of pitchers, you put Nolan Ryan there. Speaking of Nolan Ryan, I got to add on to your numbers with an anecdotal story. 1982, I just started working here, and we had good station seats down at what was that Riverfront Stadium, about 6 rows behind home plate. I'm here for a game. Nolan Ryan is pitching for the Astros against the Reds, and 6 rows behind home plate. When he would throw a pitch, and it hit the catcher's mitt. I felt the concussion in my chest.
Wow.
I could feel the power of that from 6 rows behind home plate. So anyway, so my Mount Rushmore would include, of course, my father. It would include Mike Kelly, who gets to work with me. I get to work with now on Fire football broadcasts. Tom Frericks, who gave me my opportunity at WHIO Radio, and Coach Donaher. Because Chris Harris had been doing the Dayton games. I was not 8 years old, but not a lot more than that, when I got the opportunity to do the Dayton basketball broadcast. And Chris Harris had left to go to Seattle. And my boss at the station, a guy named Ron Kemp, I said, I'd really like to do that. He says, I think you do a good job. And Tom Frerick said, no way am I going to let this kid broadcast Dayton basketball games. So they decided they do a search, nationwide search, what have you. And ultimately they decided on Marty Brenneman. Marty Brenneman, Brett Spencer, is going to do the basketball games. But a month before the season is set to begin, Marty says, I just can't do it. Too many conflicts with spring training and stuff. Can't do it. So now they're back to me. And Mr. Barrick says, well, I want to hear you work with Bucky. I want to hear you work with Bucky. And he's on my Mount Rushmore too. Just talked to him on the way over. He's doing great. He's not real mobile, but sharp as a tack at 91 years old. And Bucky, for some reason, he agrees, yeah, I'll work with you and do an audition for Tom Kirk to listen to. And Coach Donaher also, he didn't know me at all. And I went to him and I explained what Tom Ferris wanted to have happen, and he wanted to have Bucky and I do a play-by-play of the Flyers scrimmaging in preseason practice. And I said, would you be willing to, have the guys go 5-on-5 for, 10, 15 minutes, whatever? And he said, yes, he agreed to change his practice schedule to accommodate me. And I'll never forget what he said to me, because I told him what I was doing. He goes, now, Larry, I hope you get the job. I don't know if I'll be around when you call the games, but I hope you get the job. So that was how our relationship began. And I learned a lot of basketball at his feet, and as did a lot of people. And as was the case with his players, my relationship with him after he was no longer coaching became even closer than it was, when he was coach and I was an announcer. Then it became truly a friendship. And he influenced me not just in terms of basketball, but my faith. My faith, like many people, I grew up going to church with my family, Methodist Church in Columbus, Ohio. Went away to college, and like a lot of people, a lot of young people, you go away to school and you just kind of drift away from your faith and your spiritual life, and it takes on the different priorities. And I never had really returned back to that. And Coach Donaher's mother had died. And I offered my condolences, and he started to tell me about her funeral mass, and that he had 2 brothers that were priests, and they both presided at the mass. And the look of peace in his eyes, and he described, his mother passing away, but he really found solace in all of this. And I thought, I want what he has. I want what he has. And then so that began me on my road to becoming, I converted, I became a Catholic, and that's been my faith, and been a very big part of my life ever since. And the Sunday before he died, I was at work, and we were finishing up a Sunday basketball show on Channel 7. And I thought, I need to go see Coach. I need to go see Coach. There's a little voice in the back of my head saying, You need to go see coach today. And he was at Carlisle House, which is like right behind Fairmont High School on Far Hills. And I went in and they were having lunch, but he wasn't there. And one of the nurses said, well, he's in his room. And she took me in and I could tell he was close. He just lay in bed, barely awake, but he woke up and I brought him some ice cream. And so I helped him eat some ice cream and I was able to tell him the things that I just told you about how he helped make me a better man. That he taught me more than just basketball and how much he meant in my life. And he said, he said, wow, Larry, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I had no idea. And then, that Friday he passed away. So the takeaway from that is when you hear that little voice, in your head, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. So my final tribute to Coach Donaher, who really, he's a guy that I would name drop wherever I went around the country. I could mention Coach Don Donaher, and that would open doors for you in the college basketball world like you would believe. Oh, you're from Dayton? You know Coach Donaher? Yeah. How's Mick doing? How's Mick doing? Tell him I said hi. Tell him I said hi. He was so respected and revered around the country. But in the last year, he was coaching. His team wasn't very good. In fact, he had a losing record. And Dayton was playing the defending national champion Louisville Cardinals at the arena. Louisville had Purvis Ellison, never nervous Purvis, coming off and being the MVP of the Final Four. Well, the outcome was, as you can imagine, pretty ugly, pretty lopsided. And at that time, we did the post-game show back in the locker room, not out. We did it back in the locker room. And so I'd sit back there with him. We'd have our headsets, and then we would wait for the engineer to cue us that we were on. And I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to talk to him about? Oh my gosh, he just got drilled. And what kind of questions am I going to ask? And his assistant coach, Jim Larkin, would sit there with him holding a stat sheet. And coach would always chew on ice. He'd have a cup of ice after the game. And he's got this ice. He's working this ice. 30 plus point loss at home. He's like, yeah, right. He's having that ice. And his Coach Larkin don't want to make eye contact with him. I don't want to make eye contact with him. I'm trying to figure out what to say. And all of a sudden he stops. And he reaches in his mouth and pulls out a tooth. And he's staring at it. And Jim Larkin's staring at it. And I'm staring at it. And all three of us we all bust out laughing. We burst out laughing uncontrollably. At which point in time, the engineer says, "You're on." And I'm like, you need a reason. Dayton Flyers lose to Louisville by 90-65. And come out the game. He goes, "Oh, Larry, I wish you got kicked." And I bring that story up to him in later years, and he'd still get a kick out of that. So I'm going to close with one thing I wanted to talk about. I see you got some of the Beavercreek schools on next week, and I'm sure that everything's not perfect in the Beavercreek school system, but I just want to tell you that thank God you're not dealing with Dayton Public Schools. It's a misconception that Welcome Stadium, some people think Welcome Stadium is owned by the University of Dayton. It is not. That is owned by Dayton Public Schools. Okay? Well, they did a $29 billion renovation on Welcome Stadium prior to last season. tore the press box off, built a brand new press box, okay? First meeting they had in designing the press box, they invited people from the OHSAA and the University of Dayton to get their input on what the press box should be like. That was the last meeting anyone was invited to. Okay. They wanted no input into how they're going to build their stadium. They redid the locker room, the visitors locker room, both locker rooms, but the visitors locker room in particular. I want to guess how many shower heads in the visitors locker room? Give me a guess.
5.
5? 15? 4? Still too high. 1. Bingo. 1 shower head. Visiting locker. I saw Dayton played St. Francis last Saturday, and I just saw everyone lined up outside. St. Francis player lined up outside after the game, trying to wait to take a shower. Gee, the press box itself has an elevator. That's one good thing. Of course, that's ADA mandated. It has 1 broadcast booth. Okay. The OHSAA said you need to have 2 radio booths and a TV booth. They have 1 media booth that is about 3 seats wide. And it's about, I don't know, it's so deep, which is of no purpose. Having depth in a booth is of no purpose. So like having a 2-car garage in that you can park 2 cars behind each other. And you can't see all of the field or the scoreboard from that booth. Scoreboard operator cannot see the scoreboard. And so Mike Kelly and I, we broadcast outside of the press box, next to the press box on a patio. And last week in the opener, we usually broadcast the north end because of which way the weather comes. Well, the wind was blowing almost due east, and so couldn't do the north end, so we went to the south end. The only time in 43 years of broadcasting that I set up a broadcast based upon which way the wind was blowing. So you're probably going to hear in the near future about the university looking to raise money to build a facility on campus, and rightfully so. They need it because that's just an absolute disgrace what Welcome Stadium is doing there. And the university has tried to buy it, and they refuse. They're so stubborn, and it's just sad. All right, so any questions? Because you guys always have great questions. The Stewart Field.
Yeah.
The Stewart Field. It would be adjacent to the Recplex.
Are they doing another master plan to incorporate that, you know,
Yeah.
and move things?
Well, on the lot, it'll be just basically there will be a locker room that will be attached to the Recplex, which will be part of a new mental health addition. It'll be part of that. It's going to be used by the football team 6 days out of the year. I mean, they're not going to move any of their practice operations or anything. It would just be game days. A football team would use that locker room. The rest of the time would be the student body. And then they have a facility right there on campus. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but they've been out trying to do some fundraising and just get the word out. And, you know, I'm not a, deputized ambassador, if you will. But if I get a chance to tell people, part of my language, what a shit show Dayton Public Schools are, I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm going to do it. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Hey, why they UD quit allowing the Shrine, Antioch Shrine Circus to have the circus inside?
I don't know unless they just got tired of the smelling after the elements. I don't know if maybe they got complaints about that, but yeah. I don't know which came first, if the Antioch not coming to town or not being in the arena, because I don't know that I don't think the Shrine has relocated any place as far as the circus. Maybe it might be the circuses. I mean, circuses are pretty much becoming dinosaurs now.
Right. They did move the circuit to a couple different places
Okay.
after that. But they were told to start with that they could come back in after the remodel.
Oh, okay.
And, after remodel, we was not so politely told we wouldn't be coming.
Oh, okay.
I worked there for years over there.
Well, one of all the security guys at the arena are a lot of Dayton cops, and there's a lot of times officers will share a patrol car, okay, and the unwritten courtesy rule is if you use someone's patrol car, that you leave it with a full tank of gas when that person comes back. Well, this officer elected this officer driving someone's car while they're on vacation. Guy comes back from vacation. Not only is it low on gas, but he ran out of gas coming from the downtown precinct to the garage on just off of Kiwi. Couldn't even make it that far. So that officer got back at him because he was working security for the circus. And so when one of those elephants left a big deposit, he put it on a paper plate and put it on the offending officer's desk. He comes in the next day and that pile of elephant dung has bled through the paper plate, bled through the blotter on his desk. And so he's got just a whole desk full of liquefied elephant poop.
Yes. So two questions. One, if you could tell us the most outlandish thing you've seen from a visiting coach on the sidelines at a basketball game, maybe. And secondly, what's UD doing in the NIL space right now?
Most outlandish thing I saw, what is it? Well, I saw it happen twice. It was just last season where Dayton played Rhode Island and Archie Miller, who used to coach at Dayton. He's on the sideline, and he got in the way of the play. He was out on the court so far, got in the way of the play. That was pretty outrageous. But then the guy at St. Louis just got fired. I forgot his name. Travis Ford. He went a step further. Not only did he get out on the court, but he actually made a play on the ball. So so in the NIL, it's not going away. It's got to eventually be controlled because right now it's just a wild west. But Dayton is working in the NIL world because you have to. If you can be relevant, you have to. They've got a collective whereby all players are receiving something, and it's kind of a union scale type of thing. For depending on how many years you are in the program, you're going to get your share of that thing that's in the collective. The way Dayton is doing things, obviously I'm very biased because I think they're doing it the right way, is that it's not just a handout. Okay. The players they're required to do things in order to get their check, if you will. And they don't get their money all at once. It's doled out to them incrementally. So they'll be told, okay, you've got to do X amount of community service events, read the kids, do clinics, you've got to show up as sponsors, sign autographs, things like that. So they are required, there's some quid pro quo. And then the rest is a meritocracy, which the marketplace will decide. And if you market Ron Holmes, someone is going to want you to do commercials for their chicken or what have you. So I think eventually they need to, the whole NIL thing, it started for the right reason. In that it was wrong that people could go to the Uni bookstore and buy a number one jersey with Obi Toppin's name on it. He got nothing. That was wrong. But then the pendulum has swung so far the other way
So I really think what they need to do is they need to, and the schools, I think they'll get together, they'll create some rules for themselves. But, I mean, essentially, they've got to, come up with a black letter term of salary cap. And that might be determined by land square, you could say you can spend this much money on MIM. With the players then able to, based upon what the marketplace does, as far as if they can go out and make it, do a name, image, likeness type endorsement, fine, but just a straight collective type thing. So I think that's eventually gonna happen right now. It rivals Dayton Public Schools. Yes. Part.
Somebody was in there, here, I'm taking right.
I don't think they could find my house, nor could they find where you buy eggs. That's not. But nice, it's scary, we're talking about a football stadium.
Yeah.
And that's minor compared to educating young people. Wow, what are they doing there? That's what scares me. I don't care about where my perch is for a football game. That's a beefy thing. They're educating children. That's scary. That's scary. That's right. Hey, thanks as always. I really appreciate it. And it's my understanding that former California governor and actor Arnold Schwarzenegger is looking to join a club chapter in LA. And he wants to be referred to as Conan the Rotarian.
This isn't available Sunday as Sergeant Arms, we may have. Your jokes are as bad as mine.
Any thought?
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming out today, and it's really nice. I think everybody really should have a mentor like you had with John Connor. So we're really thankful for being here today. As course, we dedicated a book, and this week in Larry's honor, it's called 30,000 Stitches. It's the inspiring story of the national 9/11 flag. So, wow. Next week, Mr. Rotten is speaking, so we're looking forward to that. Next week's creators are Ed and Fran Shaughnessy. Please keep your eye on programs at the Beavercreek Rotary.com Facebook. There will be a board meeting after next week's meeting. And I know Eric has something that he wants to give away.
Okay, so you ever heard about giving away something that might be worthless or whatever? Anyway, I have 2 tickets for the second game of the second series of the Midwest League playoffs, the Dragons.
You're selling it wrong.
Oh,
He has 2 tickets for the Midwest League Championship game.
Pre-game. And wait, it's sold out. But whoever claims them has to promise to go to the game if there's a game.
Ooh,
And they're good seats, are row 10 behind home plate.
wow.
So see me after the game if you want. After the meeting.
After the meeting.
See me after the meeting if you want some tickets.
Who knows, there might be a picture there that can vibrate your chest.
Yeah.
Anything else for the good of the club? All right, if you all stand, do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Maybe we'll see. How far they say. Not waiting. Working. Yeah. That they touch. I had piece of this thing. And so. It's an house. Or
I saw it. I saw that documentary.
He threw 107 miles an hour. I'm like, I can believe that.
Sure.
Yeah,